The film begins with a brutal war sequence set during World War II. At this point, the war between America and Germany is at its peak, and the American forces are carrying out dangerous missions across Europe. A group of American soldiers is now on its way to France for one such mission. Their leader, Captain Ford, briefs them on the objective and explains that they are being sent deep into enemy territory. In a church located in a French village, the Germans have installed a powerful communication tower. Because of this tower, the Germans always seem to stay 2 steps ahead of the Americans, and that is one of the main reasons the Allied forces have not been able to gain the upper hand. The mission is clear: reach the church, destroy the communication tower, and cut off the enemy's advantage. At this time, Germany has already occupied several parts of France, which makes it much easier for them to launch attacks and control strategic positions. As the American plane carrying these soldiers moves closer to its target, it suddenly appears on the German radar. The moment that happens, German aircraft immediately launch an attack. The American plane begins to shake violently under heavy fire. The soldiers quickly realize that they are under attack and that the aircraft may not survive much longer. With no time to waste, they put on their parachutes and begin jumping out through the emergency exit. Moments later, the plane crashes in flames in the distance. The scene then cuts to a soldier emerging from the water. His name is Edward. He was one of the men who jumped from the plane, and because he landed in water, he survived the fall without any major injuries. As he makes his way out and enters the nearby forest, he begins to understand the scale of the disaster. Many of his fellow soldiers are already dead. Still, Edward keeps moving forward with the hope that maybe someone else from his squad survived. Eventually, his hope pays off. He finds Captain Ford alive. After regrouping, the two cautiously move ahead, and after covering some distance, they manage to find 3 more surviving soldiers from their team. Seeing each other alive gives them a brief sense of relief. For a moment, it feels like maybe they still have a chance to complete the mission. But that moment of relief is short-lived. As they continue moving through the forest, one of the soldiers accidentally steps onto a landmine. Everyone freezes. The very moment he lifts his foot, the mine explodes and blows him apart instantly. The soldiers are shaken by the horrifying loss, but now only 4 of them remain, and despite everything, they still have a mission to complete. With grief in their hearts, they keep moving forward. As they pass deeper through the forest, they spot a young girl stealing belongings from the bodies of dead soldiers. Captain Ford immediately holds her at gunpoint, assuming she might be a threat. But the girl quickly explains that she has no bad intentions. She says that she is only taking supplies so she can survive. Her name is Chloe. As they speak with her, the soldiers realize that she does not support the German forces at all. In fact, she wants the German occupation to end just as badly as anyone else. When she learns that these men are American soldiers, she does not hesitate to offer help. She takes them back to her home. At Chloe's house, the soldiers also meet her younger brother. Once they are inside, they explain their mission to her in more detail. They tell her that they need to destroy the tower built on top of the church, but first they need to find the way there. Chloe says that she has heard of the church, but she has never actually been there. For some reason, not just her, but no one from the village goes near that place. Everyone has been warned to stay away from it. During this conversation, Edward excuses himself and goes to the washroom. But when he comes out, he hears a strange and horrifying sound nearby. It sounds like someone breathing, but at the same time, it doesn't sound fully human or even like an animal. The sound is unnatural. Nervous but curious, Edward follows it until he reaches a door. What he sees behind it completely terrifies him. Inside is a woman who looks less like a person and more like some kind of monster. Her face appears badly melted, as if it has been burned or eaten away. Her eyes are swollen, and she can barely speak. Edward stands frozen in fear, unable to process what he is seeing. Then, suddenly, Chloe appears behind him, and her voice startles him even more. She calmly explains that the woman is her aunt. She says that this terrible condition happened to her after going inside the same church that the soldiers are trying to reach. Chloe further reveals that she barely managed to rescue her aunt from near that place, and that her parents were already killed long ago by German soldiers. Before they can continue the discussion, they hear vehicles stopping outside the house. Everyone reacts instantly and hides. Chloe goes to the door. When she opens it, they discover that a German general has arrived. He walks inside with complete confidence and very quickly starts forcing himself on Chloe. Watching from above, Captain Ford and Edward understand exactly what is happening. Through the conversation, it becomes clear that Chloe once made a deal with this general in order to save her aunt, and because of that, he comes whenever he wants to torture and exploit her. Chloe clearly does not want him near her, but the general forces himself on her anyway. Captain Ford and Edward cannot stand by and watch. They quickly come up with a plan. Edward sneaks up and points a gun at the general's head, while Ford uses the opportunity to tie up his hands and feet. With the general restrained, Ford tells Edward that he will handle him. Edward is then instructed to go check on the two soldiers who had already left earlier to search for the church based on Chloe's clues. They had not returned, and no one knew what had happened to them. As Edward searches for the church, he suddenly finds himself being chased by a German military dog. He runs as fast as he can, desperately trying to save his life. Just ahead, he spots a truck. He pushes himself harder and barely manages to climb into it. Once inside, he takes a second to catch his breath, but when he finally looks around, terror washes over him. The truck is filled with the bodies of dead American soldiers. Fate has unknowingly brought him exactly where he needed to go, because the truck is headed straight to the church. Edward quietly slips out and enters the church. At first, everything seems normal, but as he ventures deeper inside, he realizes something is horribly wrong. Hidden beneath the church is a secret German laboratory. As he explores the lab, he sees multiple prison cells containing living captives. Farther inside, he sees dead bodies too, and it becomes obvious that the Germans have been conducting experiments on both the living and the dead. But the nightmare grows even worse. Edward sees many human beings suspended inside grotesque hanging bags. The sight is horrifying. He approaches one of them and tries to open it. The moment he does, a strange red liquid starts spilling out. Then he notices that the person inside is still alive. Even more disturbing is the fact that the face of that person looks exactly like Chloe's aunt, burned, melted, and monstrous, as if acid had destroyed their features. It is clear that something horrific is being done to these people. Edward notices that the red liquid coming out of the bags is being processed further in the lab, and from it, the Germans are manufacturing a special injection. He does not fully understand what the injection is for, but he secretly takes one syringe with him. Then, he hears voices from ahead. He moves closer and pulls aside a curtain, and what he sees nearly makes him lose his mind. There is a woman lying there whose body has been reduced to just her head and spine. Yet somehow, she is still alive and able to speak. The sheer horror of the scene is too much, and Edward immediately runs from that area. While escaping across a bridge-like passage, he runs into one of his earlier teammates. This soldier had already reached the church and had been captured by the Germans, who had started experimenting on him too. Somehow, he managed to survive, but now he is badly wounded. Edward helps him and quickly takes him back to Chloe's house. Once back, Edward tells Captain Ford everything he saw. He explains that the church does not only contain the communication tower. Beneath it, there is also a hidden German laboratory where twisted and inhuman experiments are being carried out. There are living prisoners, dead bodies, and horribly deformed people inside. What Edward witnessed shocks Captain Ford as well. He wants more information about the nature of these experiments, so he orders one of the soldiers to bring down the tied-up general. But when the soldier goes upstairs, he sees the general lying there unconscious. He tries once or twice to wake him, but when he becomes convinced that the man will not wake up anytime soon, he makes a terrible mistake and unties him. The general had only been pretending. The moment his hands are freed, he immediately grabs a gun and shoots the soldier in the chest. Hearing the gunshot, Edward and Captain Ford rush upstairs. Another soldier manages to capture the general again, but the damage is done. Yet another one of their men has been killed. Edward is disturbed and desperate. Then he remembers the syringe he took from the lab. He had seen people there who should have been dead, yet they were somehow still alive. He begins to think that this injection might be capable of bringing the dead back to life. In a moment of reckless hope, he takes the syringe and injects it straight into the heart of his dead teammate. For a few seconds, nothing happens. Then, unbelievably, the soldier rises back up. Everyone present is stunned. Even Chloe cannot believe what she is seeing. For one brief moment, it seems like Edward's desperate decision has worked. But that hope quickly turns into horror. The revived soldier starts developing monstrous strength, more strength than his body can even handle. His veins begin swelling and turning blue. He loses control and attacks his own companions. He grabs Edward by the throat and starts choking him. The others try to pull him away. Even after they manage to separate him from Edward for a moment, his body continues changing. Just like the creatures in the lab, his appearance starts becoming distorted, and he remains obsessed with attacking his own teammates. Captain Ford shoots him in the chest, but the bullets do nothing. There is no real effect on him. He does not die. It becomes clear that he is no longer human. He has turned into a zombie, though the soldiers themselves still do not fully understand it yet. Edward realizes that their friend is gone. Whatever came back is not their teammate anymore. It is something else, possibly being controlled or transformed by the injection. Knowing there is no other choice, Edward starts smashing the back of his gun into the creature's head again and again until he finally crushes the skull and kills it. Meanwhile, the German general, who has been watching all of this, seizes the opportunity to escape. As he flees, he also kidnaps Chloe's younger brother. When the others hear the noise, they try to stop him, but he slips away. Captain Ford had managed to shoot him during the escape, and the bullet hit his face badly enough to blow away part of his cheek. Yet even with such a terrible injury, the general keeps running, enduring the pain and disappearing into the night. Now the stakes are even higher. Originally, the mission was only to destroy the tower, but Edward makes Captain Ford understand that the laboratory is an even bigger threat. The communication tower is dangerous, yes, but the experiments being conducted in that secret lab are far more terrifying. Captain Ford agrees. They come up with a new plan: first destroy the lab, then destroy the tower, and while doing that, rescue Chloe's brother as well. Chloe joins them because her brother is still in enemy hands. The scene then shifts to the German general, who returns to the lab and injects himself with the serum. A scientist sees this and reacts in shock, asking him what he has done. The scientist warns him that the serum is not meant for normal use and that it can drive a man insane. He explains that the injection is designed to reanimate the dead and transform them into monsters that cannot die easily but exist only to kill their enemies. From this, we finally understand the full truth. The Germans have been trying to create an immortal army, soldiers who cannot be stopped. The prisoners hanging in bags, the blood extraction, the grotesque experiments, all of it has been part of producing this terrifying serum. Soon after, Captain Ford and the others reach the backside of the church. Ford explains the final plan. Each person now knows what they have to do. Captain Ford climbs upward toward the radio base and the communication tower, while Edward goes below into the laboratory. Ford plants explosives in the radio section, and Edward places bombs inside the lab. But just as they are about to leave, the general appears in front of Captain Ford. At this point, the general looks absolutely terrifying. Half of his face is destroyed, and after injecting himself, he has become far stronger than any ordinary soldier. Captain Ford is no match for him physically and is quickly overpowered. The general drags him toward the lab area, clearly intending something horrifying. Realizing that he has no chance otherwise, Captain Ford does the unthinkable. He grabs a nearby syringe and injects himself with the serum. He knows the risk. He knows it may cost him his mind and turn him into the very thing they are fighting. But in that moment, it is the only way to stand against the monster in front of him. What follows is a savage and brutal fight between the two enhanced men, both fueled by unnatural strength. At the same time, Chloe and one of the remaining soldiers are carefully searching for her brother. They finally find him tied to a bed inside the lab. Chloe quickly frees him and helps him escape. The soldier helping her then moves toward Edward. Edward sees Captain Ford and the general fighting and immediately understands that both of them are now infected. He knows fighting them directly would be foolish, but he also understands one important thing. Creatures like these can be destroyed either by destroying the brain or by fire and explosion. Thinking fast, he notices an oxygen cylinder nearby. He shoots it. Because the general is standing so close to it, the resulting explosion tears his body apart and kills him. Captain Ford, however, survives the blast. Edward rushes in and tries to help Ford escape, but Ford pulls away and locks himself inside a cell. He knows what is happening to him. He knows that he is no longer fully human and that there is no guarantee he will remain in control. To protect Edward and everyone else, he chooses to imprison himself. Elsewhere, Chloe and her brother attempt to escape through an air vent, but before they can get away, one of the zombie creatures attacks them. It gets dangerously close to Chloe. Just before it can bite or kill them, Chloe raises her gun, places it under the creature's neck, and fires multiple shots straight into its head. The zombie collapses, dead. That gives Chloe and her brother the chance to escape. Back in the lab, Captain Ford gives Edward some final strict instructions. We are not told exactly what he says, but it is clear that Ford is refusing to leave. He knows his fate. Outside, German soldiers have now discovered that American soldiers infiltrated the church and the lab. They begin opening fire everywhere. But the threat is no longer only the living German soldiers. More and more dead soldiers, reanimated through the experiments, begin emerging as zombies. Edward understands that there is no time left. Instead of fighting them one by one, he chooses the only solution that can end this nightmare completely. He presses the detonator. A massive explosion tears through the entire church. Because Edward had placed multiple bombs, the blast is enormous. The church, the secret laboratory hidden beneath it, and the communication tower built above it are all destroyed at once. Fire consumes everything. The zombies burn, the German soldiers die, and the entire horror created by the experiments is buried in flames. Soon, news spreads across the village. The people who had been living under German oppression finally begin to celebrate. They come out of their homes and silently express their gratitude to Edward. Their nightmare is over. In the post-credit scene, Edward is shown back in America. His senior officers question him about the mission and about what he found there. But Edward flatly denies the existence of any laboratory. He tells them that they went only to destroy the tower, and that is exactly what they did. We later understand that Edward lied because Captain Ford had asked him to, and because both of them knew something very important. In war, once humanity begins to disappear, people become capable of anything. If the American military were to learn about such a lab and the possibilities of that serum, they might also begin similar experiments. Edward understands that if even a single zombie or one sample of that virus were allowed to spread, it would not take long for humanity itself to collapse. So his lie is not an act of cowardice, it is an act of protection. In the end, Edward's one lie saves the world. And with that, the movie comes to an end.